It is 10 a.m. in Washington and 9 a.m. in Iowa, where our latest CBS News poll shows former President Donald Trump still remains the solid Republican frontrunner. In New Hampshire, he is also out in front, but is now drawing some criticism following these comments that he made about immigrants at a rally over the weekend. So for more on this, we're joined by CBS News campaign reporter Jake Rosen. Jake, let's talk about what the former president said, which many, including the Biden administration and the Biden campaign, are calling disgusting and fascist. What are you hearing about how those comments are being received where you are?
Well, it's not the first time that the former president has used those words. He's said them previously in interviews, and the last time he was up in New Hampshire, he compared his political enemies to vermin and said that they needed to be rooted out. In many ways, this is the same Donald Trump that we've seen in 2016 and 2020. And if you were already supporting him, then you might think that he might be joking in his remarks, or that he's just using the rhetoric necessary to really, reestablish and make America great again, like his supporters and he say. But I think, we saw Chris Christie call it out on Face the Nation. We saw the Biden campaign use the Hitler's rhetoric and compare it to that. But generally, I think it'll have to be seen what voters really think. We're about 30 days from the New Hampshire primary.
And we heard voters weighing in on their favorite candidates over the weekend. Let's take a listen.
I feel like Trump would be good to get us out of this mess quick.
I like Trump, but I don't like his policies. I don't like his personality. I don't like the way he treats people.
When I saw Nikki Haley in the first debate, I was overwhelmed. Like she said in Londonderry, you may not agree with me, but I'm going to say what needs to be said. So on a lot of her items, I don't agree, but I really appreciate her honesty and being upfront and addressing the issues that we're facing right now.
So are Trump's strong views on immigration having an impact on voters? There are comments like the one we just heard, helping or hurting him?
Well, immigration is a huge, huge issue for voters in Iowa, New Hampshire, and all around the country. I think the way that other candidates have framed their argument on the border, like Ron DeSantis or Chris Christie or Nikki Haley, is a little softer than former President Trump. And I think when it comes to time for voters to cast their ballots or to go caucus for different candidates in Iowa and New Hampshire, I think immigration really is at the top of mind. When I spoke to voters in Durham, New Hampshire, where former President Trump was this weekend, a lot of them said that immigration came first as well, and taking care of people here and closing the border.
So let's talk about where you are in New Hampshire. Nikki Haley is ascendant in New Hampshire. And what's kind of unique there, as you know, is that independents are also, it doesn't just have to be Republicans that go to the polls. Independents are also able to cast a ballot. And to me, what makes that interesting is it feels like that's what it's going to come down to in the primary, right? Whether or not independents find the words that the former president used this weekend about immigrants from Asia and Africa, specifically pointing out, I guess, folks who don't look like the America in his mind that he'd like to see, are willing to cast their ballots for somebody like that.
Yeah, absolutely. In our latest CBS poll, Nikki Haley came off as reasonable, likable, and prepared. And I think in terms of her case to voters, she takes this Trump model and kind of scales it back a little bit. And in New Hampshire, 40% of the electorate is undeclared, meaning that they can vote for either any Republican candidate or can write in President Biden or vote for Congressman Dean Phillips, who's challenging President Biden on the Democratic side here. And with Nikki Haley's, moderate policies on a lot of things like transgender issues, even the border, I think that is that big voter block that Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, and Haley have all been fighting over up here in the Granite State. And it'll have to be seen how voters actually cast their ballots, but right now it looks like Haley has truly consolidated that vote up here among those more purpley or leaning red voters.
I want to ask about this new Wall Street Journal poll that finds many voters say the president's policies actually hurt them. How worried are Democrats about this?
Well, I'll just give you a New Hampshire example. Congressman Dean Phillips is primary challenging President Biden up here. Biden is not on the ballot. Basically, voters will need to write him in up here, and there's a write-in campaign ongoing with activists and grassroots orgs. But long story short, I really think it's former President Trump's policies and posture really comes off strong up here among voters who want to see the country the way that it was back in 2016, 2017, 2018, right before COVID. A strong economy, a job market that was stable. And while I think a lot of those metrics have gone well for former President Biden, or for President Biden, I should say, I don't think that voters are necessarily feeling that. Inflation is still going up, although at a lower clip. And I think people, when they go to the supermarket, when they go to the store, are still feeling that weighty, paycheck and the credit card bill at the end of the month. That might make them think about voting for a different candidate, even if President Biden was their choice in 2020.
All right, still early days. Jake Rosen, thanks so much for this.